Wishing for a Christmas mortgage miracle? Patriot Trading Group wants to make your wish come true. Just enter to win on Family Values Radio website, and you can enjoy having your mortgage paid for a year. That's right. It's the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, where if you win, you'll have all kinds of extra money for other things, like a vacation, new clothes, new giant screen TV with whole home audio, whatever else may be on your wish list, because the winner will receive their mortgage or rent payments covered for a year. To enter, go to FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and click on the banner. Enter once each day to increase your chances to win, and look for bonus entry opportunities. That's FamilyValuesRadio1010.com, and enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, sponsored by Patriot Trading Group. See our website for details.
Good morning and welcome to Friday. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And what a week here as the election results continue to come in. Not going the way that we had hoped. Maybe put a third finger of Jack in the coffee today. Looks like we're headed for recounts in Georgia, Pennsylvania, possibly Nevada, Michigan, throw Arizona in there, but not looking great. I mean, let's be honest. It's not looking great. They're now saying that Biden is ahead in Georgia, is ahead in Pennsylvania, is ahead in Nevada, is ahead in Arizona. So the odds are stacked against us. But here's the thing. You know, everyone was talking about, hey, the Democrats didn't get the Senate, so it'll be okay. Yeah, I'm not so convinced. First of all, there are now 2 runoffs. So some states have different rules. And Georgia and I think Alabama both have it where if you don't get 50% of the vote, there's a special election. So now there are 2 special elections that are going to be conducted, I think, in the next month, where the Republicans and the Democrats are going to battle. And if we lose both, then we've got a problem. We got a big problem. But even if we don't lose both of those special elections, and by the way, one of them, the Democrat was the big winner, but they had a lot of other candidates. So I don't know if there was just 2 candidates, would it have been closer? The one in Georgia, it was the 2 very close, like 49-48. I mean, very, very close. And without there being a presidential election, if the Democrats are smart, they get 2 more seats. But even if they didn't, here's the problem. You've got 2 independents, okay, in the Senate that are independent. And usually independent means I'm going to, lean left. Usually, not always, but usually. Then we also have Snow from Maine and Romney in Utah, who are known to vote with the left. So I'm not very thrilled. I'm not thrilled at all. I think this is shaping up to possibly be the worst case scenario that I was talking about, which is, hey, Biden's the president and the Democrats have the control. We'll have to wait and see. But again, this is just how it looks this morning. I'm just being a realist about it. It's going to be very difficult to use the courts to overturn Joe Biden as the next president of the United States, which in my mind really means Kamala Harris. Right? I mean, that's the other thing nobody's talking about. But we'll have to wait and see. And I'll leave the politics to other shows, but it's important from a gold standpoint. we're going to have even higher gold prices. E.B. Tucker, he's back on our website, back at allamericangold.com. He's reaffirming his $2,500 gold target for the end of the year, and he lists a whole bunch of reasons. Give it a listen at allamericangold.com. But again, gold's broken out to the upside. We're still going to get stimulus at some point. I think stimulus now is farther away. There is not going to be stimulus for Chris, I don't think. Now, that could change, but as it appears right now, no one's even talking about stimulus. Everyone's talking about runoffs and recounts and who's the president, who's not the president. And then we've got, obviously, now two. Because Georgia, the Republican was above 50%, but as the mail-in votes came in, now he's, kind of almost like Biden took the lead from Trump there. Well, the same thing kind of happened, and now the Democrat, they're right there. So now we're going to have two special elections that could really put things in a very precarious position. But again, holding gold is going to help you. And I want to reiterate this to you. Don't be scared out there. Don't be. Because as I told you all along, it really didn't matter whether it was Trump or Biden. It really didn't matter whether the Democrats got the Senate or not. Big change is coming to the United States, and not in a good way. Right? Look at when we talk about the food stamp rules and all that. We'll get to the jobs number here in a minute as well. The amount of deficit spending there is no end. Because they don't want there to be an end. This is the plan. We're going to a digital currency. It's just that simple. And anybody that says otherwise, you don't know what you're talking about. But again, you shouldn't be scared if you prepare. It's just like, remember back in the day when you were in school? If you didn't study for the test, what happened? You did poorly, right? You did poorly. You didn't study for the test. You did poorly. It's the same thing here. If you prepare and you study and you put away your gold, you're going to do just fine on the test. If you don't, it's not going to be pretty. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold's up right now. $6, $19.52. Silver. I told you, look out. It's going to happen quick. Silver's up another 40 cents, $25.60, $25.60. You know what I don't like today? Crude's down $1. Crude's down $1. It got all the way to $35, kind of rallied back a little bit, down $1, $37.70. Most people are starting to figure out what I just told you all. Hey, that stimulus that we thought was going to happen here, it's not going to happen quick. It's not going to be in time. And again, it's hard because I look at the data, right? They tell, look at it. The data's great. It's great. It's great. Of course, they say that because they want you to believe overpaying for stocks is a great thing. It's not. I mean, just bring the PE ratios closer to 16%. 16 times, not percent, 16 times earnings. You're talking about a Dow at like 18,000, 17,000, not 28,000. I mean, you're paying a lot. But this is what gold's telling you. Gold's telling you, hey, they've created bubbles, bunch of them, bunch of bubbles everywhere. Today we had the government jobs number. It was 600, and let me get you the exact number here. And I apologize. I thought I had it up, and of course my computer totally went sideways on me. A little over 600,000 and change was the number. Not great, not bad. I would say it was okay. the unemployment rate down to 6.9%. And again, see, this is the problem. Because how can we have 60 million people on food stamps if the unemployment, the unemployment rate's falling like, 6.9's now granted. 6.9's not 3. I get that. And 6.9 is normally, it's not a great number. It's still too high. But it's not like the whole world's going to come to an end. And the rate that it's falling, I mean, by all accounts, if this keeps up, by January we'll be at 5% or less. But the number's fake. This is the problem. It's the problem with all the numbers. According to the government, leisure and hospitality led the way. Now, listen, I'm no expert, okay? And this is an October number. Nobody's staying at hotels, right? Nobody is going on vacation. And you're like, really? Really? Okay, if you say so. But almost half the jobs came from leisure and hospitality. That's what, again, we got to believe this. Now, most places were starting more shutdowns. Professional and business services, that was second. Now, that's a good one. I like that one. That was 200,000 jobs. And then they said retail plus 100,000. Are you kidding me? I have 2 more retail closures today. Pet Value, they've got like 360 stores. They're gone. Said we're done today. We're closing them all down. I mean, every week it's the same thing. How do we believe that? Again, if you take those 3 categories, that's almost all your jobs. It's almost all your jobs. You got the healthcare jobs, you got transportation jobs, but that's the vast majority of your jobs. And 2 of those, tough to believe. I mean, tell me a retailer that's opening stores, even Starbucks. Starbucks today. Hey, we're gonna close 100 locations. Now, I mean, Starbucks, I don't even know. Feels like they got 10 million locations, so 100 isn't that many, but still. However old you are, you better have an ounce of gold for every year you've been alive, and you better have it soon. Because this thing is going a lot faster. I was wrong. I apologize. I thought we had more time. China has stepped on the accelerator. They've stepped on the accelerator. By the way, did you see soybean prices? 4-year highs. It seems like that's the only thing China's buying from, soybeans. They're buying them like gangbusters. What I want to know is, why doesn't China have the outbreak that everybody else has? Have you asked yourself, Europe's shutting all back down again, right? We had an all-time record high number of cases yesterday. I'm sure we're going to break that record again today. China's got nothing. Do we really want Joe Biden to be the president? I'm just saying. 800-951-0592. So the jobs number, not horrible. But again, remember what I told you yesterday. ADP said there was only like 300,000 jobs. We're saying 600,000. But yet, a little hard to believe. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It's just a little hard to believe. By the way, labor force participation rate, still horrible. We got lots of other issues alongside of that. By the way, we didn't even know, there was a Federal Reserve meeting. I mean, we got so caught up in the election, we didn't even realize that they had a meeting. And here's what they're saying. Okay, obviously, they're not raising rates. We know that. They've already admitted we're not raising rates for years. And I've told you, they're not raising rates ever again with the dollar. They're not raising rates ever again with the dollar. Now, with the digital dollar, that may be different, but with the dollar as we know it, they will not raise rates again. That's how little time I really think we have. But they left everything unchanged. But here's what they said. They said that the interest rates are going to remain, they say near zero because they don't want to say zero. So I think technically we're at 0.1% through 2023. So I'm interpreting that as they're letting us know how much time we have. Because why not say through 2024 or 2025? Why not say 2030? We're not going to talk about raising rates through 2023. Of course, that means a couple of things. Inflation can get as high as possible. Right? And again, how they count inflation, it can never really with the math they use to get inflation. I don't even know how you get to 3 or 4% inflation the way they do it. They said economic activity and employment have continued to recover, but remain well below the levels from the beginning of the year. And I'm thinking to myself, but every time I turn on the idiot box, they're telling me how wonderful everything is. According to the central bank, a very large stimulus package is going to be needed. And again, I don't know how large it's going to. How big's large? I know they're talking somewhere around $2 trillion. That's not enough. I'm pretty good at math. I mean, I'm not great at it, but I'm pretty good at it. And just simple back of the napkin type, I'm thinking $5 trillion would be needed to really, if you really wanted to have everybody not default. And when we sit here and we watch all of these things play out and more uncertainty, I don't know that we're actually going to get a declared winner in the presidential election. Maybe it could be a month, could be next week, could be a month. But I think all of that is going to push the stimulus even farther. But here's the thing: the longer we go without it, the bigger the stimulus is going to be. So how about that? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Forget $2 trillion. I wouldn't be surprised if that number is closer to $3 or possibly $4 trillion. Mitch McConnell's now saying they want to get something done before the end of the year, and if they do, E.B. Tucker could very, very well be right. We could be staring at $2,500 gold before the end of the year. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But the central bank yesterday all but said the economy's well below where it was. But yet, look at Wall Street. Wall Street's higher. Wall Street's higher. But this is why, I'm nervous, because it's a bubble. This is how do you know it's a bubble? Well, I know it's a bubble because somehow 20 million more people ended up on food stamps. Notice how nobody's talking about that either. I tell you. But again, don't be scared. If you prepare for the test, you're going to pass. You're going to pass. Listen, I know that, hey, preparing stinks, right? And nobody liked it. When I was in school, I hated doing homework. I hated studying for tests. I hated it. And this is the same way. We really don't want to prepare. We don't. Right? Preparing stinks. Right? I want to pretend like, hey, everything's great. I don't want to do homework. right? I want to go home and I want to watch Netflix and I want to go on the golf course and play a couple of rounds of golf. I want to meet my buddies at the bar on a Friday night. I get it. I want to do all those things too. But if you prepare for the test, you're going to pass. And that's my advice to everyone. Don't be scared by this. I mean, what the FDIC did, I mean, it sucks, right? To think about, hey, you know, they're going to determine how much of my money I'm entitled to, right? That doesn't sound attractive. And know this, I want to be honest with you, know this. They're not going to tell you you don't get it. What they're going to say is, hey, you don't need it. And we're going to figure something out. In most cases, in the too big to fail legislation, in the bail-in legislation, let's just say hypothetically you had, $200,000 in the bank. Okay? Now, you're under the FDIC limit. But again, the rule changed. And there's, a calculation, and you've got to prove that you need it. And they'll determine what you get. And again, remember why they have to do that. They actually don't have the money. Right? I mean, it's just that simple. If you've got a bank with $2 trillion worth of deposits, and you've got an FDIC insurance fund of, 30 or 40 billion, you're not even close. And here's the problem. If one of the banks goes under, they all go under. They're all the same. Right? And don't just think that, you know what, it's just Wells Fargo that's going to go under. Not that, listen, I don't want to create a bank run on Wells Fargo. Okay. But what I'm telling you is, they all buy the same crap. They all loan out the money on the same thing. If one goes, they all go. That's why they had to change the rule. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Quick correction. Both recall or special elections are in Georgia. So I think I said Georgia and Alabama. They're both in Georgia. And Mark Kelly has now been officially declared the winner here in Arizona, defeating Martha McSally officially. So now we're sitting 48-48. 2 independents. And both Senate seats in Georgia are going to a special election. So, best case scenario, Republicans will have 50, the Democrats 48, with 2 independents. Worst case scenario, Democrats have 50, Republicans 48, with 2 independents. Of course, remember, 2 of the Republicans are Snow from Maine, Romney from Utah, who we've seen time and time again vote with the left. I'm not that excited. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about it. Again, we don't know how that's going to work out. But if you prepare, you're going to be fine. Simple. You should love it, really, if you're willing to prepare. The only the people should be worried are the ones that don't prepare. Then you got to worry. My wife's distraught right now. She is. She's so upset about it. And I said, listen, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. We're preparing. We've been preparing. It's okay. And I want all of you out there, it's okay. And I know you're upset, and I get it. Because you know what? I think everybody I've talked to wanted it. Hey, I want 4 more. I just want 4 more years before it happens. We just didn't have that much time left. I mean, Joe Biden's got to be the worst candidate of all time. Seriously, really. I mean, are there any worse? The guy can't even put a sentence together half the time. He doesn't even know what day of the week it is. Again, another reason. Like, all the signs are there. Prepare. It's simple. Prepare. And again, like I said, we didn't have that much time anyway. I mean, even if somehow, by the grace of God, Trump pulls this out, okay? I mean, it's a really long shot, especially now that they say that he's got Georgia, or that Biden's got Georgia and Pennsylvania. Now, that's what the vote says. It's hard to use the courts to make that kind of move. What were we talking about? I mean, seriously. By the end of Trump's second year, right? Everyone will be like, "Oh God, what's coming next? Like, what do we got to do?" Right? And you're prepared then. So maybe the timetable got moved up a little bit, but it didn't get moved up 4 years. Maybe it got moved up 2. So the thing about it is you have to know the rules and why the FDIC did what it did. It makes sense. Right? And again, does it mean it's right? No. No, because they said, listen, we guarantee $250,000. Now, of course, they only bumped that up. It's not even been 15 years since they changed that rule. It used to be 100,000. And that kind of has me worried. Right? Is that kind of going to be the new, well, you don't need 250. Here's 100 or here's 50. I don't know. Now, how the law is written. So let's understand what happens. Do you lose the money? There's a difference between losing the money and not being able to access it. You're kind of splitting hairs, right? Because if you can't access it, do you really have it? But what they're supposed to do is issue you stock in the new bank. Okay? So take all these banks, and especially with digital currency, okay? The need for the banks becomes less. It just does. Just does. Right? The central bank's like, well, we got everybody's bank account. I mean, think about total government control. I mean, it's creepy. And again, don't be an idiot. Okay, don't be an idiot. You know as well as I, any of these big banks go under, they all go under. We know. They all loan against the same thing. They're all loaning on overpriced housing, overpriced real estate, right? You got cars that now cost $100,000. I mean, we know, we get it. They all have the same debts. And you got to remember, too, some of the biggest banks aren't even in this country, right? They're European banks. They don't have enough money. Simple. You know what? You can't go to the government and say, oh, we need to borrow $15 trillion. Right? That doesn't make sense. Because think about it. If J.P. Morgan and Citi and Bank of America, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, Goldman Sachs, they all go under. You can't borrow that much money from the government. So they got to have a different plan. So they made one. Hey, we're going to evaluate. We're going to determine. We got a formula. I'm not going to tell you what the formula is, but we'll determine how much of that money you get to keep. Well, and again, how much of that money you get to have access to. How's that? Access to. The rest of it will give you shares in this new bank. Well, what does that mean? Well, you can't sell them, At least not yet. We'll let you know. At some point in the future, maybe you can sell them. Well, how much will I get for them? Well, we don't know. So let's just say you had 200,000, and let's just say, for argument's sake, they give you 50. Okay? Because you got to remember, they're not even close to having the money. They give you 50. That other 150,000 gets you X amount of shares in this new bank that you can't sell. At some point in the future, they'll eventually, I think, allow you to sell it. What will you get for those shares? You could get more. You could get less, right? Who knows? We don't know. Could be anything. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Just like I thought, coronavirus, new record today, 121,000 new cases. And again, I'm just worried. Shutdown's coming. That's what it looks like. Just be prepared. It'll be okay. Be prepared. So let's go back to the FDIC, okay? Because again, here's the sad part. You go to your bank, the tellers don't know. I promise you they don't. I don't think the branch manager, the one, the bank, the branch that was near my office, they closed it. They even took out the ATM, right? Which was on the outside of the building. They even got rid of that. The next closest branch, the quote-unquote manager, can't be 30 years old. He doesn't know a thing. But here's how they wrote the legislation and why it's so important. Two really big things happened in the last 2 weeks. One, we found out about the rule change for the FDIC. I've gone through that with you. The other one, which in itself, when I reported it, was terrible, but now in correlation with the FDIC, I'm like, I get it now. Of course. See, when they wrote the legislation on too big to fail, which everybody with an IQ higher than room temperature, boy, if something's too big, what do? It's too big. Well, you got to make it smaller, right? Got to make it smaller. Well, they didn't. They said that we're going to force the banks to sell insurance against their own failure. And we'll use the insurance money to recapitalize the new bank. Then, all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, the central bank released a press memo. Now, here's what's funny. Every 6 weeks, Jay Powell holds a press conference on television. Didn't have a press conference for this thing. Just a press release. No big deal. I don't even know if anybody but me reported on it. But what the press release said was the banks bought their own insurance policies. In other words, they didn't sell them to a third party. They bought them themselves. And see, they didn't insure the derivatives, which is why the banks will fail. Right? J.P. Morgan didn't insure their $55 trillion of derivatives. No, they insured like $600 billion worth of loans. Maybe $1 trillion. So the central bank, in their ultimate wisdom, said, yeah, okay, yeah. There's not going to be any insurance money to recapitalize. And we're not gonna force the banks to do it the way they were supposed to. Which kind of meant, hey, we were going to use a lot of that money to help with the FDIC and give people more money. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Well, if you don't recapitalize it, that means people are going to get less. Right? Maybe if you recapitalized, maybe you had a chance to keep people whole, right? I mean, JP Morgan's got $2.6 trillion worth of deposits. Well, you know, if you bought enough insurance, we can kind of keep it whole, pretty close, right? But now they're saying that the insurance that got bought was bought by the bank itself, which is going to go under whether or not they get the insurance money or not. So let's just say JP Morgan had bought $2 trillion worth of insurance. Okay, just for, which they didn't, by the way. I actually know the number. It's like 600 and something billion, but let's just say it was 2 trillion because it sounds better. The losses on JP Morgan and their 55 trillion derivatives portfolio is going to be massive. 10, 15, 20 trillion, who knows, right? Whatever, pick a number. Way bigger than 2 trillion. So the recapitalization money is going to be gone anyway. Now I'm thinking, no wonder why the FDIC changed the rule. Right? What? Could you imagine? I don't even know who's in charge of the FDIC anymore. Jay Powell calls him up. Hey, I got some bad news for you. You know that insurance that we forced the banks to buy? Well, Jay Powell did. Ben Bernanke, Janet Yellen, we're going to use to recapitalize, and the FDIC, oh yeah. Well, the banks kind of bought it all themselves, and so, which of course really means what? The banks found out nobody wanted to buy that. I don't want that. So just prepare. That's all I'm telling you. And I get it, because if you're like me and you hate to do homework, you hate studying for the test, right? It sucks, right? But here's the thing. Here's the good part. If you do it, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Patriot Trading Group, final segment here on this Friday, coming up next. 800-951-0592. So just know this. It's going to be okay. There's a lot more to come here, after the election. And no matter how it goes, there wasn't that much time left anyway. See what I'm saying? And I don't know what the country's going to look like on the other side, but it'll be here. It'll be here. Now, what happens digitally? I've gotten this question a lot. How will it work? Here's the only difference. Now, you can place orders, and you can go to our office in Colorado, come to our office here in Arizona. You could pay cash and pick up your product. You could come in and sell, and I could pay you in cash, and you could leave. That's gone. That ends with a digital dollar. You'll be able to put it on your credit card. Sure, still do that. Write a check. Yes. Checks will probably go away. I think most people, you'll have like a little app on your phone, and you just hit the button, and you find Patriot Trading Group, and you say, yep, and you tell it transfer, boom, boom, and the money hits my account, or vice versa, right? But there will be a transaction for everything you do. That's coming. The ultimate big brother, right? The Orwellian prophecy, if you will. They'll know everything. Everything you buy, everything will be done My guess is most of it will be done through your phone. That's my guess. But it'll work the same. The only difference, like I said, the cash part is gone. You can't pay in cash. I can't pay you in cash, right? And so it'll be all the other methods, and that's how it's going to be. And I really see a future where I don't know if the banks exist, really. Do we need them? Right? If we got a digital dollar, a Fed coin, is the Fed just going to take it all over? I don't know. Again, there's a lot more scenarios, none of them great. But if you prepare, it'll be okay. For those of you that say, well, I hate studying, I hate doing homework, I'm not, and I guess for you, you'll be scared. You'll be scared. And then there's going to be the group, well, you know what, I hate doing the homework, but I'm going to cram for the test. That usually never works out well. I mean, you'll be better than doing nothing at all. But the way I look at it, just prepare. Prepare, it'll be okay. Quick look here. Dow's down about 50 or so points, not a lot. Gold's up 7, $1,953. Silver's up about 40 cents, $25.50, $25.50 on silver. Right now, U.S. 20s is about all there is out there. There's 10s and there's 20s out there. But U.S. $20 gold pieces, we were at $21.75 yesterday. It's Friday. Let's keep it simple. I'll leave it there. I know we got gold's moved up here, but U.S. $20 liberties at $21.75 at 800. 9510592. We also have silver eagles. Some of you have noticed for some of you, the 2-week period got a little shorter, but we've gotten silver been coming in a little faster than we thought, so that's good news too. Those are available as well. Listen, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay as long as you've prepared. Have a great weekend. God bless everybody. We'll be back on Monday.